So awesome. So altogether right now it sounds like this. Cool, and once we've got all this, you know what I like to do? I like to group everything that is my track. So I group it like this, and I call this the OV master. OV because that's my initials, right? And I like to separate it from the real master. On the real master channel, I want it to be as transparent as possible. If possible, to have nothing on the real master channel. Then I want to treat the OV master like my master channel. I like to put a limiter on there as the last thing in the signal chain. And then any other mastering steps that I like to do before that, I'll put there. Usually just an equalizer, maybe a tiny bit of compression, maybe a tiniest bit of saturation, who knows. Whatever I want to do, I'll put it before the limiter there. The advantages of this workflow are that I can easily put reference tracks next to this OV master and switch those reference tracks and then get a very objective view of how my song would perform next to those reference tracks. The big downside of this method is that I cannot use sends and returns, at least not easily, unless I do some complicated routing. And honestly, it's a bit of a workflow killer for me if I have to do that. So in fact, I've gotten used to the idea of not using sends and returns. And that is very divisive. I know some people they really insist on using this, and they're right. Like there's nothing wrong with it. It is a powerful tool that I'm choosing not to use, but everyone's workflow is personal to them. And so that's just how I'm going to continue for the time being until I've figured out a way that doesn't make me compromise too far in the design of my sets. So that's what we're going to do. So on the OV master, I'm going to, on this limiter, I'm going to bring up the gain until the rumble and the high percussion together are almost touching the limiter. Then I know it's going to be at a pretty good volume when it's coming out of the speakers. So let's go. There we go. See that? Perfect. That way, when I look at my OV master, I can see it bouncing around here. And soon, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a reference track next to it, and I'm going to compare. When I'm going to put my RMS next to the RMS of the reference track, I'm going to see what I feel about my track. If I think that the kicks are heavy enough, the rumbles are heavy enough, the hi-hats are cutting enough, all these kind of things, I can then compare. But I think maybe it's a bit too soon to do that, because another risk of using a reference track is that you're going to stylistically follow it a bit too much, and then you're going to be too much influenced by their identity. And maybe it's cool to do a little bit more exploration first, give myself some options, then listen to the reference tracks and see how I feel from there.